Hey, welcome to more random thoughts in random places. Today is one of those reflection days where, for those on a spiritual journey, my spiritual friends, this is going to resonate with you. And so that's what this is for. This is for us because I know that we have our journeys at all different levels and we're having different experiences. But some of those experiences are similar. It's just maybe unfolded in a unique way for you. So I had my birthday just yesterday. I'm still celebrating. But it came into my mind about where we're at as a human species. So I go back and I say to myself, since the dawn of man, all we ever got taught in the narrative was you got to chase the money. That will make you feel powerful. It will make you feel valued. It will make you feel like you got your mojo back. It will make you feel confident. Just keep chasing that. That is your number one thing that you must value above everything else. So throughout the generations, all we've done is become even more evolved at being bastards and taking. And then what you see when you observe is a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety. And people wonder why that is. Well, it's because you've been brought up with a narrative and you've fed into that narrative. You've grown up and you've happily followed that narrative, knowing it feels wrong, but you'll do it anyway. And because you've chased money in the most ruthless of ways, or you've chased money through fear, because you've seen what poverty looks like, you don't give a toss about people's feelings. And you fed into that narrative, and now we comfortably do it all day, every day. So much so, you can have companies that can put up values and they don't really stand by any of them. But they'll have the lawyers, the money, and the narrative all ready and fed to back them up, to make it look like they're truth tellers, and everything else and everyone else around them is liars. That's how bad we've got, where we will actually be conniving, deceitful, you know, and just carry on doing that because of fear, scarcity. So this is for people on their spiritual journeys, people that know that you live the narrative that society tells you to, but that's not life. You have to do some investigations. You have to be curious. You have to want to know. But many people are just happy with the narrative that they've been fed, and they will continue to pass that down to generation. And all we've done is become more creative at being despicable and not care about people. And it's apparent to me that we are emotional beings, which means you have to consider those things. And if you don't, it's all going to go pear-shaped. So now what we try to do is we try to have controlled situations and places and companies and narratives where you can be that, you can be kind, but we're doing it for the money. And it's a job status, you know, and all of that stuff. Whatever happened to good old-fashioned just kindness and consideration for your fellow man and your fellow woman? Like, you need to be taught how to be kind. You need to be taught and spoon-fed how to be compassionate, that you need to be spoon-fed in being emotionally intellectual. But for a lot of people, you're already born convinced that emotional intellection doesn't count for shit. Yeah, it does. Oh, it does. And society would be a much better place if people were just kinder and weren't so brutal. Like we said, we have controlled spaces where if someone's having a breakdown, you can completely annihilate them, talk to them like a piece of shit, and then go hide behind that veil of our values. And then you can see some people being treated nice because other people are being paid to, and there's rules and you can't be cruel. How do I know that? Being adopted, you would be surprised how adults would change when they knew no one was watching and no one was looking, or when they knew that they had the authorities fed, happy, content, and so they wouldn't look no further. And then people can do cruel things, yeah, and then lie about it. I know all about the brutality within human beings. I have done since I've been a child. I've met the devil many times in many forms. And Always he'll come with that humility, a smile on his face, kindness, all this light shining around him. So what you got to do is you got to just keep looking at the eyes, and then you will see the soul. As a child, I knew I was around demons. Yeah, I was around demons the whole of my entire life. And a lot of them used to hide under religion, because that's the most commonest move. You know, sociopathic people, narcissistic people will do. They will set the platform first. And so it brings me to the point that I'm coming to get to, which is there comes a time when you've just had enough of society. It's chaos, it's detritus, it's vile, low vibration, the unhappiness that it just continuously wants to spread. And as a child, I always said to myself, society don't make no sense. That's not going to last. It's just not going to last. It's not self-sufficient in a way that's respectful to the human species and its surroundings, to the earth. It's not. It's just pure hell. And I do believe that this is a realm where we are the closest to hell on earth as you can get. I have known this since I was a child, and I can no longer hide it and shove it under the carpet. I believe I was meant to do the journey that I did and feel the things I did with the human race, so I could be ready to do the things that I'm going to do now. One of the best things I ever done, it was scary, but it had to be done, was remove myself from society. And to do that, I had to quit work. I no longer involve myself in work. It's one of the most toxic things that was ever created. People don't know how to use their discernment or their discretion. They follow that narrative with that fluoride stare, and that's all they do. Terrified to speak. What the point is using vocabulary if you're not going to use words in their honest content? But no, everybody has twisted it. Good is bad and bad is good. I'm done. I've literally had enough. See, you can only be around certain people that have shown you consistently that they are genuine people. The most people that you're around play the genuine game, but they're not. They're playing the narrative because they're absolutely shit fucking scared. Because all they know is make money. Make money, make money. They just disregard any other part of their being. Me, on the other hand, I'm my spirit self, my soul self, and my human physical self. And all three of those have a right to be acknowledged and have their moment. And down here on earth, you can't do that shit no more. You can't evolve. You can't. They just won't allow it. We have to... Eventually, I had to move out of society because I have to be like other people. I have to play that narrative. I have to say those words. I have to be them. No. I couldn't do it anymore. And so I think for me, it was that pinnacle moment which I've been waiting for, which is I now took that plunge. I don't want anything to do with it, where it's going and what it's doing. Because internally and in an isolated situation, I know exactly how mean human beings are. And the narrative of society, I've known that since a child, and nothing's changed and nothing's got any better since I've grown up. And all it's shown me is I got to walk that way. I'm walking with the group. I'm not walking with the crowd. I'm just not going to do it. And I've had to sit and reflect a lot on how I'm going to make that happen. And so I've been doing the steps, and I've never felt so free. You know, got some complex traumas that need dealing with because I put them aside for so long, for, you know, over 4 decades. And society took everything from me. It's taken everything. I have not had good encounters with human beings since I was a child and up until 5 years ago. And the last straw for me was last year in my work environment, where I'm not going to do that toxic lying shit. Yeah, I know what I said and I know what I did. And I just ain't having it. I'm not going to get swallowed and what's the word I'm looking for? Suffocated by something that's bigger than me, has got everything in place to hold its own and its lies. And I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to be a part of that. It's time for me to break away. And when it comes to us spiritual warriors and us chosen ones, we're all going to have that moment where we break away from society. It's inevitable. I didn't even belong here. I came into this world in the most horrendous way, and been trying to make sense of it all since I was a child. But I just didn't belong here, but I am here. When I read back to my family history and what they had going on, there was no signs that I would ever be in the picture. It was through a disaster, which is why I ended up being born. And, you know, it wasn't meant to be here. And I feel that. I know that. And humans have been, wow, you have been one hell of an experience. I have to say that. The level of cruelty, the level of disregard is off the Richter scale. Humanity is lost. It's gone. It's about to end. You know, so all I can say to people is you really need to be careful how you act, because the very thing that you've been cruel to so many people for is soon going to be gone, you know. And then what are you going to say? What are you going to say then to people? You know, we have to start caring about each other if we're going to survive this. None of this dog eat dog, I'm taking what I want, everything's going down the pan, we've all got to be bastards to one another. No, you don't. No, we don't. That's what the elite are hoping that we'll do. And it's quite an easy thing to do after the amount of repression that people have been through. I can imagine, just like you get when you get someone that ends up losing a lot of weight, their dress sense changes. They start to wear the short skirts, and they start to go a bit over the top because they're so happy that they've managed to change their whole body frame, and now they've just gone a bit over the top with you know, with the short skirts and the showing off the body, and their attitudes change. They become cocky and, you know, pig-headed. It's like, why are you doing that? You've achieved something so wonderful. Why are you turning into a nasty piece of work now? What's that all about? You know, it's that it's that just arrogance that people have, the narcissism that people have. Yeah, you haven't even developed any skills yet, and you think you're the greatest thing. And it's just awful. It's just got to stop, and it's not going to stop. And so all one can do is remove themselves from it. It's so difficult to even explain. So I just stay quiet and I rarely ever mention it. But soon on my channel, I am definitely going to go into where it should be going. I'm just evolving and developing. But I will start talking more about the spiritual journey, the whole journey of mankind, where we're going, what we're going to do, how we might end up. And for me personally, I had to make that plunge now. It's time. It's time. Society never wanted me. And I spent a lot of my years trying to fit in, trying to have family, trying to have people that would see me as something valuable and meaningful. And it was never going to happen. So I found my own. And within that, I discovered a lot of other things as well. Like most people put their value on the fact that they came from two human beings that were in love and, you know, what we call parents. And without that, they feel lost and have no meaning. Well, you don't need that. You are a spirit being. You come through the form of two people because that's just the way it's got to be. But you yourself, down here, and what you do down here, no. You already had meaning. You were already a life force. Just down here learning what it means to be human, but you are not exactly human. Okay? You're a universal being. And when you finally understand that and know that, there is no trying to cut me down. You know, one has got to embrace all of their aspects, all of the elements about them. And there's just things they don't want you to know about yourself, the power that you have. But everyone's so bought and sold with the, I've got to get to work, I've got to do this. You can't see it. You can't see it. And there comes a time when you have to just disconnect. If that's the road that you're going down, if that's where it's going down, I choose to be an observer, but I am not going to engage anymore. And I'm speaking about this purely from the spiritual journey. The ones that know. So I'm not here to try and convince people that don't. We're all on our different journeys in our different places. So I'm not here to try and convince you. You have to see it and know it by yourself. So ever since I fully let go and was truthful with my authentic self, it's been brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant. I don't belong in society. And for anyone else that thinks that, don't be afraid. Embrace that, own it, and then you'll see the doors open to where you're supposed to be. And I knew this video might be long. A lot of you probably aren't going to watch till the end. That's cool. But it's just for us spiritual warriors who are ready to disconnect now. Do it. And on that note, my darlings, my spiritual warriors, have a wonderful week. And as always, Jala.